the most unfortunate parts of working on old cars is corrosion and rust. The hard part of it is most of these cars, like this 57 Chevy here, have had some rust repair done in the past, and it's difficult to say what the condition of the metal is. The only way to know for sure is to sandblast it down to bare metal. So this car here has been disassembled because we're doing a chassis swap in it, and we wanted to clean up the bottom of the car to make it look nice when it goes on the new fresh chassis, because you don't want a crusty looking floor pan over your brand new frame rails. So to start with, we went ahead, sandblasted it all down, cleaned it up, scraped all the undercoating off. Now we can tell where we're at. On this car, rust reared its ugly head. There was some previous poorly done rust repair, and there's some big holes and some structural issues that it's got under the car. So from here, what's about to happen is it's going to get sealed up. Then we'll start on the actual sheet metal replacement. So we'll take a break from this one, take you down to another one that we have that is one step further down the line and has actually been epoxy coated. So let's show you that one. So here we've got a 68 Charger that had some rust issues. So what we did, we pulled all the panels off, then sandblasted all the under panels so that we could get all the surface rust and corrosion off, and then we put a coat of epoxy on it to seal it up and keep it from rusting. We do a lot of this epoxy on the backside panels so that once we put the car all back together, none of this stuff will continue to rust in the future. It'll be sealed, and moisture and everything won't just start the rust process all over again. But what's kind of interesting is a lot of people don't realize a lot of the inner structure on these things can get rusty as well and really complicate the rust repair process. So if you look at this guy, you can see some of the inner structure actually must have had debris down in it, started rusting. It's all in here. You can see previous repairs in here where they just kind of like gooped it together. A lot of these, when we know we're going to cut certain panels off, we don't get too crazy cleaning them up because we're about to throw them in the waste bin anyway. But once it's all sealed, this car is about ready now to start cutting out some of the little detail areas, putting sheet metal patches in, and then building it back up from there. So I can show you a car that's one step further in the process next, where they're cutting out some of the rusted areas, replacing them with clean new sheet metal, and hanging new panels on it. So here you can see a square body that's getting the old square body blues repaired. We repaired square bodies all the time for this exact same rust problem. This one, because it's a quicker repair, they didn't actually epoxy it because the rust repair doesn't take that long, so we're not worried about it corroding while we're doing the rust repair. But we'll go in, cut out the affected area, and weld in new sheet metal. So we made this patch here that ties the inner structure into the floor. That's all in and cleaned up, and now he'll recover the top with the patch that goes into the rocker. And that's kind of how like the little detail work is done, is we'll cut the affected area out, make a patch, weld it in, dress it out. Our goal is typically when we're done with it, we don't want you to be able to tell that it ever had a rust repair done. We want to make sure that the gauges of the metal are the same as what was there so that the structure stays the same. We also don't want to eliminate any pieces of structure between cosmetic pieces. That's kind of common where something will be corroded and people like cut it out and not reuse it, and it can affect the structural integrity of the car. So you want to make sure that if the floor is supposed to be tied into the A-pillar or the hinge pillar, that it still is when you're done, because that's what's going to give it its structural integrity. So that's what the little detail stuff looks like. I'll show you another Bronco we got over here that we're actually doing big full panel replacement on, so you can see what that looks like. Alright, Sean's working on the Bronco over there in the back, and it's really loud so you wouldn't be able to hear me, and I don't want to stop him because we need to get that thing done. So I figured I would just show you the 68 Charger, the other 68 Charger. This one you can see it's got some epoxy metal that was good, and then it's got some brand new sheet metal hung on it. The replacement panels are really the best way to go because we could put the metal back into the factory location. We don't have to work seams and everything in the middles. and it's really a nice way to do it. Unless you got a really small area and a really expensive panel, a lot of times we'll just replace the whole thing. So once we get all the metal like this, where we like the gaps, the metal's on it, from there, that's when it'll see the paint and body procedure, and it'll be back to looking like brand new. Alright, so the next car in the process that's a good example is the Cutlass. So this car had all the metal replaced, rust repaired. We went ahead and painted the inside of it and got the body work all done, slicked it all up, primed it and blocked it a couple times, and this one's actually ready to paint. Once we're done painting it, it's going to look like brand new again. Everything will be the way it should be. There'll be no rust, and with the epoxy on the inside and all the metal replaced, it should last as long as he has the car. So if you want to get any rust repair done, you know where to find us. We do it a lot. We know how to make them get back to the factory again and last you a good long time. And please don't forget to like and subscribe. If you have any questions, just let us know in the comments and we'll be happy to answer them.